Hi, hello, and welcome. Welcome back to the What is K-pop podcast, where we talk all things K-pop. Woo! So, today, technically it's tomorrow from me recording this right now, but today is the second anniversary of the What is K-pop podcast, and I convinced my dad to be on here. Would you like to say hi, Daddy?
Hello, I'm Sophie's dad, Pete.
That was animated. Very animated. So yes, we are going to. So if you recall, from a few months ago, me and my sister, Vixen, we did an episode on her guessing who the visual members of a group were, and it all kind of was a little bit sisterly chaotic. And I thought, since my papa is forced to watch a lot of music videos, aren't you, Daddy?
I certainly am. None of them are Led Zeppelin.
Oh God, no, 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 no. Music videos.
The song remains the same. It's their famous video.
Really?
Yep, they actually recorded them live, plus also interviews with the band members.
Yeah. That's a special interest, Daddy.
It certainly is. But then it's my sort of era. Because I was what, 12 when Led Zeppelin first hit the screens? 17.
1970.
It actually started in 68, but by 70 they were the biggest band in the world, dethroning the Beatles.
I mean, with BTS, it took them about until, well, people say it was like 2015 when they started to like kind of hit their stride, and then it was 2017 with their song Idol and whichever other one it was. I can't want to say it's famous, but I know that's not it because it's All Day Project's one. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it is.
For me, it's quite interesting how music has changed over the years to evolve right the way through now to the rise of Korean pop.
Hmm.
And for me, as the 68-year-old man, the one I sort of know is BTS.
Hmm.
And then Blackpink is the other big one, as far as I'm aware.
Hmm.
There's one being male and one being female.
I do just want to say though that I have forced Dad to watch a lot of random things. Like we watch K dramas together. Like
Some of them are quite good, actually. They're very followable.
See You in My 19th Life was
Yeah,
one that we watched. And there was one Japanese one that I was talking to Bexy about, and she said that you wanted to carry on watching it.
there's one with a chap who was like a part dragon or something like that. He had some tattoos on his arm.
Oh, My Demon.
That was it.
Hmm.
They kept setting fire to things or something like that.
No, it's funny, yeah.
There was a strange attorney one. He
Oh,
started
no,
off as,
no.
I think so. He started off as a real high-powered attorney and got things quite wrong. He got set up and he ended up like having to do cases involving dogs for nothing.
We watched one episode of that, and the guy, he was very intense, which I think obviously was intentional. His character was meant to be like that, but it was a bit too much.
I think for us Western people, it was perhaps a bit too much. It wasn't quite subtle that we're used to, but it was still watchable though.
Yeah.
But yeah, See You in My 19th Life was very good.
You like the main lead.
It's quite it sounds funny for a man 68 and quite a big bloke as well, but it's quite a romantic um, genre to it.
You're talking, Daddy. I'll press him.
Okay. Yes, to me, it had quite a sort of romantic subtext across the generations and years, so it made it infinitely followable. Whereas, I suppose, perhaps as my age, some of them I find quite difficult to follow.
The cats are often recurring characters in my podcast. I'll often talk about how Basil just is not amused by re-recording. He's trying to sleep. Yeah.
As you might gather, Sophie has two cats.
Mm,
One is three. He's called Jelly, and he's a mackerel tabby, and he is absolutely frightened of being frightened.
he is. It's a bit.
That's why he's called Jelly. And he was a rescue cat from the Heart people. They were very nice people who take in animals that nobody wants and then rehome them.
What was it? Cat tax. Cat tax.
There was one on Facebook where somebody said they found this cat just wandering the streets, and if nobody could find ta own up to being their owner, they'd look after it. And I was thinking, we would as well.
We would.
But Jelly got really upset, and we brought his friend home called Petal. Because Petal's only 2, and she's a
Tortoiseshell.
tortoiseshell, but she's got no characters of a naughty tortie. The only thing she does is sit on the jigsaw watching telly with us. And it's so sweet. And occasionally she tries to eat the pieces
She does is fart in our faces.
or scratch the sofa occasionally.
About having that. But yes. On to
And
today.
often she goes to sleep with Mum.
So, the topic of conversation today, Papa, is who is the visual? So, within K-pop, like the visual member is like the character.
Like the lead singer or something.
No, it's the person who most fits the Korean beauty standards.
Oh, right. Not like the lead singer or the lead guitarist.
No.
They don't tend to have lead singers and lead guitarists. Not like the rock groups do.
You have lead vocalists. It's the same thing, but guitarists, like you have bands like One We Next to Nary Heroes, and AOA. They had a band like subunit thing, but they don't really play instruments on stage. A lot of them do play instruments in general, but
Not as I'd recognise as, you know,
not on like music shows.
not like Queen had Freddie Mercury as the singer and Brian May as lead guitarist.
You won't have that sort of stuff, but yes, I'm excited.
Yeah.
So, first up we have is ATEEZ. Would you like a run through of who the members are, Daddy?
Please do.
So this one's Mingi. That's Yunho, Yesang, Jungho, Songhwa, Wooyoung, Hongjun, and Sam.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is how my daughter loves her K-pop, because there's what, 3, 6, 8 people there, and she knows all their names.
There's a couple of them I might not be able to tell you the names. You just sort of have to guess their faces. So I was going to have more rounds, but then I kind of forgot, and I didn't do it. But, you know, still got more than Bexy's. So, would you like to guess which one is the most Korean-esque beautiful?
Being a very heterosexual man, looking at male beauty is not something that's very high on my day-to-day agenda.
I don't think there's girl groups in this.
Big American V8 cars, yeah. Heavy rock bands, yeah. Snap-on tools, yes. Korean male beauty, nope, it's right down there with being ill.
I have one. I have toner pads that you get from Korea. You have to put like a sticker on for the English instructions.
I suppose of all of them, I'd say it's the chap scratching his chin.
Sam, there's 2 of them in there.
No, there's only one chap scratching his chin.
Sorry, no, there's 2 visuals in the group because they're so big. Do you need to put your glasses on?
Possibly the chap with the dyed hair in the top right with the braces,
Yunho.
because he's got slightly different colour hair and not the traditional black hair. So he stands out a bit.
Well, you got neither of them right. Songhwa and
Okay, right. Which goes to show I will never be the Simon Cowell of Korea.
So yeah, Yesang. Sorry.
I don't think Simon Cowell or K-pop need worry about their job position.
Stray Kids, another 8-member group. Well, actually, technically 9 members, but
I always thought there was a Stray Kids that was a Western group as well. Yeah, I think there was a group called Stray Kids.
Yeah. So we have Han, Felix, Chanbin Chan, Lino, Sungmin, Hyunjin, and Ian.
Given my success at the last slide.
There's also 2, I think, in this group.
Oh dear. I'd say the chap right in the middle in the white t-shirt.
4 of them have white.
Right in the middle. That one.
Do you want to pick another one?
And that one.
Okay. You got them. No. Actually, sorry, there was only one. You didn't get them right.
Okay.
He's the official.
He's got blonde hair in that one, but the one you showed me, he's now got black hair.
They always dye their hair differently. Well, actually, there's a history behind this. So, Big Bang's G-Dragon, he was the first idol to dye their hair, dye his hair for a comeback, and then it just sort of exploded from there.
Well, being an outsider, I wouldn't have thought dyeing your hair away from the traditional black would have been socially acceptable.
Isn't really. It's kind of on the same vein as having tattoos. It's kind of like a gang symbol. It's very similar.
Rebellish.
And Han has tattoos.
Oh, right.
17.
Looks like there is 17 of them.
Team members. So you have Jun, Ming Hao, Soon Young, Sun Quan, Zheng Han, sorry, Wan Wu, Ming Yu, Dino, S-Coops, Woozy, Vernon, Joshua, and DK.
My daughter's knowledge of K-pop bands is stunning me.
This is kind of an old picture of them, I think, though.
Yeah.
Probably would have been good if got like one of the other ones, but you know, it still works. There's 4 visual members in this one. Think about it very long, deeply, Papa.
Right, with my best guess, which so far has been completely wrong, I'd say chop up there with the sort of dyed hair. Possibly him. This chap down here.
Vernon.
Maybe him.
Okay. Well, you got half of them correct. Well done.
Halfway there, living on a prayer.
Vernon, so him, and him.
Oh.
Well done.
Okay.
Tomorrow by Together. Or TX Team. We have Hyunin Kai, Yeonjun, Bonju, Subin, and Taehyun.
Well, the chap in the middle looks like he's got the attitude to be like a lead singer, look at me. But then they all have in a funny way.
Chap in the middle is Bonju.
I'll almost say the chap with the blonde hair beside him is as well. He's got that look at me. I like being looked at. More of a lead guitarist, lead singer, whereas bass guitarists tend to want to be in the background. So, like, as in John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin and John Deacon of Queen, they're rather, we're here, we do our job, but we.
I should have offered to buy you a packet of sweets if you got some of them right, shouldn't I?
Bribery does work, yeah.
Sweets for doing this. Not even some Haribo.
No, I don't like Haribo that much.
What do you like?
That's a good question, actually. Yes.
He doesn't like much.
As long as I like my daughters and my wife, that's enough.
Sometimes I do wonder.
Yeah, so do I.
You actually got it right, Daddy. Well done.
Hence the bag of sweets.
BTS.
Oh my god.
So you have Jin, Namjoon, Taehyun, Jimin, Yoongi, Hoseok, and Jungkook.
The sort of Led Zeppelin of K-pop, the big name.
Especially now that they're coming back.
Yeah.
After the military service.
They must be sort of in their 30s now.
Jungkook was born in 1997, so he's 28 this year. And Jin is 33.
Still young enough to do all the sort of sing and dance that famously associated with this music genre. Given that he's stood right in the middle, I'd say it's him in the middle. And whoever Jungkook is.
Jungkook.
Because they're the two that I know of, because they did a travel blog in the coast of America.
Birthday.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what the other chap's face looked like.
It's a weird name. They've done a new series of that.
Yeah, I could just remember those two doing a travel blog. And they said it was nice not to be recognised, and then all of a sudden they were recognised by a load of 16-year-old girls.
Were they?
Yeah. They were sat at a restaurant. And some girls come up to them and say, are you Jungkook from BTS? And they're like, oh, best we go.
Got it wrong. Jin and Taehyun. So you have to look at their faces.
Goes to show, what do I know about K-pop?
Vanna. You aren't getting the names for this one.
I think it's a waste of time giving me the names.
I don't know their names.
I'd say the ones either end with the blonde hair.
Johan.
Oh, right, okay.
The end. So, Tis.
Got quite. Oh, I remember. This is one of the passwords for one of our thing in the house.
For some reason, I always think of cortisone.
Why is? Yeah.
Colour outside the lines.
Okay.
And I know that's James and that's Martin. Couldn't give you the names. I know their names, but I don't know who.
I'll go with the one with the duck on his shirt.
The duck on his shirt. Oh, I think that's that is a creepy human face.
Looks like a duck.
I got it wrong.
Okay.
No, I actually do think. No, I think you got it right.
Don't worry.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you got it right, Daddy.
Hey, look at me, K-pop expert. Oh,
You're not. How long have we been recording? Because I usually have no. Oh, we can talk more. Yay, Daddy. 16 minutes, don't worry. So, Papa, how has the last 5 years of basically watching me, waste 5 years of my life on K-pop been for you?
is it that you've wasted 5 years of your life, or have you enjoyed 5 years of life watching K-pop and watching all the bands grow and the rise of certain bands, and this one taking hiatus and that one joining a different band and giving your mum and dad a K-pop update every morning at breakfast,
Try to give you a K-pop update
and
every
watching mum and dad both sit there going, huh?
I will say it has been nice watching Stray Kids become popular and obviously 80s doing stuff because they went to Coachella in 2024. Stray Kids did Lollapalooza and Lollapalooza. They've been doing relatively well recently, yeah.
The only thing that seems strange to me, coming from the 60s, 70s, 80s, is that the way they jump between bands. Whereas, okay, you got Richard Blackmore's Rainbow, they had different drummers coming in and different lead singers, but predominantly the really big bands like Queen, Led Zeppelin, The Who, Rolling Stones only replaced somebody through fatality, particularly in the Rolling Stones case. And if you think where Queen and Led Zeppelin, when a member of their band passed on, that was the end of it. I mean, Queen tried to reform with various lead singers, but nobody was as good as Freddie Mercury. It took 20 years, 27 years before Led Zeppelin regrouped, and that was with the son of the drummer who passed. So it seems a bit of a strange thing for me where they keep jumping, but this one's left this one and joined this one and so on, which makes it quite hard for me as an outsider to follow it.
I see it that often. Like, the only people that have really done multiple, like lots of groups, Woonkie from AHOF, I think. Whichever group
I
he's
just
in.
wonder some days if they struggle to find their style.
He's moved around a lot. Shatara and Sungchan, they were in NCT, and then they left to join Rise, but that was under the same company, so it wasn't really. Like, well, if there's Maiden, who used to be Limelight, drama. So no, not it's not so much as that they leave and then join new groups. It's that they leave and then become they they do like the solo work, and sometimes like older groups we're seeing with like second gen, they will return with like so many members, but then under like a slightly different name than originally, yeah. So just a bit off. Like Double S501, they have returned with a couple of the members. Girls' Generation, they had a comeback in 2022. They did that Forever One song that you like.
Oh, yeah. There's just one or two songs stick in my mind because obviously I do listen to quite a bit, but in a bleak.
And quite a lot of groups have also like changed their names. Like OneWe, they used to be MAS 9400, I think, and then it was just Mass, and then OneWe. The boys, they were gonna when they joined the 100 label, they were gonna be like the new boys or boys with a S instead of a Z. But then IST gave them the trademark. I don't currently think that that was a good idea to leave the company because of some drama.
There does seem to be an awful lot of drama associated with K-pop, though. With, like I say, people moving around and companies folding and popping up and so on.
Yeah.
Certainly something you didn't see so much of back in 50 years ago.
Well, you have like the main four companies, or really only like the main three, kind of. You have like Hybe, SM, YG, and JYP, but SM haven't really been doing as well as they had been before after their founder Lee Soo-man left, and Hybe acquired shares of SM. It was a whole drama. Then you have like smaller companies like Starship and Cube and those sorts of ones. And then like you have your really small companies that Kim Woo Jin, who used to be in Stray Kids, was under before then he joined a subsidiary that got acquired by SM. So now he's in SM because he was a trainee. It's all very complex.
I suppose in its own funny way, it's a bit like happens in the Western world where the big companies are always looking to harvest superstars from the smaller companies. I
Yeah.
mean, the classic is that Elvis Presley started off on the Sun Records and pretty soon was signed to Radio Corporation of America, RCA, where he made pretty well all of his big hits.
There aren't actually that many like Western companies though, because I know that Taylor Swift, she was under Big Machine Records, whatever it was called, and then she joined like Universal or something like that. It feels like there's only a couple of thingies. Yeah, it'll be fine. Like a couple of companies.
Well, when I say Western companies, I mean ones that the Western society will recognise. I mean, Sony's a big player in the music industry, although it's Japanese. Yeah, it's the one that most people in the Western society will recognise. Whereas the smaller K-pop ones, they're not so high vis.
But with Hype, because they acquired Scooter Braun's agency, who used to actually manage Taylor Swift, like they're becoming more well known because of like Cat's Eye and but you know the funny thing with Cat's Eye Daddy is that I told you this, but my nan's gone on hiatus, and I think that perhaps Cat's Eye might make the end of the year. Because my non is like meant to be like the visual member, and she's like really improved, but like I don't know if she wants to carry on. And they're making that new group with Samara. I can do it.
I do wonder that which groups of K-pop we'll be talking about in 40, 50 years' time.
Lexi and Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're going to have a TV show to find a Japanese member, which I'm like, why? Is it because of the fact that Yoon Chae is in Cat's Eye and you want to have the Asian market? Like,
Yeah.
Europe. It's a bit weird.
I wonder if we'll get a song come out of K-pop that would rival Stairway to Heaven or Bohemian Rhapsody, where it's known right across the world.
Like Gangnam Style.
But that was like a almost like a comic song.
Oh, I hate that song.
In a way, you could say that Psy and Gangnam Style did expose K-pop, but the wrong side of it in a way.
Oh god, it was.
It's almost like having I don't know, Peter Kay write a song and becoming worldwide. But he's a comedian, and that's what Psy kind of struck me as. It was taking the mickey out of the whole K-pop genre.
The K-pop genre was more like the just like the Gangnam area of Seoul, which I actually it took me until I became a fan of K-pop to know that Gangnam was a place in Korea.
I actually thought it was Gangland. I didn't realise it was a suburb of Korea. I thought he was mimicking Gangland, the way he danced and jumped about and so on. I thought, yeah, he's going to be in trouble.
Also, I thought that you know how Florida like sticks out a little bit of the US, and then Korea kind of sticks out a bit of China. I thought Korea was Florida.
Okay.
So that's why like they were so annoyed at the US.
I must admit, I kind of got Korea and Vietnam mixed up because they're both promontories. Korea only being about 100 miles from Japan, and in Vietnam being about 1,000 miles from Japan, it's quite now, with a bit of research, easy to define the two. Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't take geography, and I think that's pretty clear. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll keep Florida and America and Korea close to Japan, I think. Mind you, I should have really known a bit more about it with the Korean War, but that sort of finished just about as I was born.
Yeah. That documentary about Kim Jong Un on Disney Plus is actually quite interesting because it will go through like the grandfather, the father, and then onto what the son will, what they think the son's going to be like, and yeah, it's quite cool.
I wonder if they'll ever end up with a unified Korea. Because I must admit, I do feel sorry for the people in North Korea where, yeah, the basic amenities of life are somewhat sparse.
29%.
Anyway, but that's for them to sort out in their own country. It's not for us to interfere with. You know, there's too much of that going on, I think. And if the North Koreans were that upset, then they'd sort it out themselves.
No. So, as a last question,
Yes.
do you think that I will be sat here in another 5 years' time and still listening to K-pop?
Only if it's what you want to do and it makes you happy. But if you suddenly want to burst out and become a professor of K-popology at a university of Capology at the University of Seoul, then fine, I'll support you. But if you want to sit here at mum and dad's table chatting about K-pop, in 5 years' time, when dad's 73, he'll sit here and talk to you about it. And he still won't be able to recognise anybody. He still won't know much more.
And as for the, well, I can't speak. As for the podcast, do you think I will be celebrating a 3rd anniversary?
I certainly hope so.
With a podcast episode, of course, I'll still acknowledge it in my own life, but yeah.
And expand its format and make it equally as interesting, if not more so. Draw in more listeners or viewers.
If you want to see my stats, they're quite nice. You're going to see them anyway.
Okay, looks like I'm looking at stats.
You don't have a choice, Daddy.
Okay. Looks like that plug-in machine.
Like doing angelic noises.
I don't know. All right, then,
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with whatever you two girls do. So that's what a good dad should do, is support you.
Yeah. 2 years down the line, surprised I'm still doing this. But
it's like everything. I mean, Lauren Jump started off hitting herself with a skipping rope. And then 5 years down the line, she's making thousands through it. So you do progress, you do learn, hopefully, and get better at things.
We're going off on a tangent, Daddy. You're the problem.
Talking about how your podcast grows.
I'll just stick the oven on for my dinner. Do you want dinner, Daddy?
No, I'm just going to have a cup of coffee and some biscuits.
Okay, fair enough. Well, thank you, Papa. And I will talk to you lot later.
Thank you for inviting me.
I do know why. It's because I love you. Bye.